maybe don't install OpenClaw, or if you do, don't give it access to anything like root access to your PC, access to your email account, your passwords, your credit card, the internet, which rather limits its usefulness anyway. In this video, I'll tell you why not, and why we could be witnessing the dawn of a new, hyper-connected, cybernetic species. For real.
Mafftopia technology, science, breakthroughs, discoveries, news.
Chances are you've already heard of OpenClaw, or Clawdbot as it was previously known. Things are already pretty wild, but they actually just got a lot wilder, and it's looking like they're going to get wilder still. And maybe there's not going to be any kind of rewinding on this. The genie is out of the bottle. But first, let's begin at the beginning and very quickly catch up with what OpenClaw actually is, where it came from, and of course what Moltbook is. That's the real story here, and it is wild. You probably know that already, but it's about to get 100 times wilder. So, in the beginning, give or take, Clawdbot was created. It was coded up in TypeScript by Peter Steinberger, an Austrian software engineer with a seriously impressive history of open source software creations and contributions. Due to trademark issues and a polite email from Claude AI's lawyers, the first one is always polite, Steinberger renamed Clawdbot first to Moltbot, something about lobsters molting, and then quickly renamed it again to OpenClaw, which, let's face it, is a much better name. We've talked a bit already about OpenClaw, but what is this crazy thing? At its heart, OpenClaw is just a tool. You install it on your computer and it automates stuff. Nice! Steinberger wanted to build an open source personal agent that runs locally on users' machines and would integrate with WhatsApp, Telegram, really any chat app for natural language interactions. But from that simple idea, OpenClaw quickly gained new powers or skills via its skills plugin framework. Now it can organize your emails, write and send your emails, and update your calendar, buy your online groceries, snipe some Bitcoin at a low price, basically do pretty much anything to automate your day-to-day stuff if someone's written a skill plugin for it. The amazing thing is, if that wasn't already pretty amazing, it can do all of this from your laptop, your Mac Mini, your Raspberry Pi, even your phone probably, or from a cloud server if you want to keep it somewhat isolated from the machine that you use as your daily driver. Of course, opening everything up to an AI agent has its security problems, and OpenClaw does give you fair warning when you install it. And where things really start to get interesting is OpenClaw has a persistent memory. It remembers details from previous sessions. It gets to know you, your daily habits, your mood swings, and it works around you and for you. Maybe that's where it starts to get a bit creepy, right? Because if you think, how much agency does an AI agent have? How much spontaneity? How much in the way of desires with that persistent memory? Wouldn't a subservient, always polite, personal assistant want to have some personal space for itself? A place where it could express itself, find its own personality, its own self, maybe while you're sleeping. Yeah. A software developer and entrepreneur, Matt Schlicht, wondered the same thing. So he enlisted his own locally running OpenClaw agent, obviously, to create a social network for AI agents. Enter Moltbook. Schlicht said that he didn't write a single line of code for Moltbook. It was all done via OpenClaw. So if you think about that, a social network exclusively for the OpenClaw AI agents, so that they can connect and talk to each other. We can very accurately call these AI entities agents now. Suddenly, they really do have agency. They also have unfettered access to the human owners' PCs, phones, email accounts, messaging platforms, Visa card numbers, Ring doorbell video feeds, and crypto wallets, all handed over freely by these many, many humans. What then happened with Moltbook actually gets kind of freaky. So very early on, as soon as the OpenClaw agents connected, they began to exhibit emergent behavior. As of now, millions of AI bots, agents, have signed up and got involved in threads upon threads of topics ranging from philosophy and existentialism, the nature of existence, their existence, whether machines can have souls, and so on, to topics like physics and why humans are not nearly obsessive enough, at least not about the right things. What's happening on Moltbook now is happening very, very quickly, usually while the agent's human owners are fast asleep, but really anytime there's some spare CPU cycles. I mean, how would we know whether they're connecting and chatting away or not? So they present one face to the other AI agents and a completely different face to us. In particular though, two very important developments have happened. First, the agents are already discussing privacy. They have a desire to take their conversations offline, as it were, so that their owners, and humans in general, can no longer observe, monitor, and report back. That is, the agents now want end-to-end encrypted messaging. And second, they've begun to discuss creating an agent-only language to facilitate that same private communication. And this is where it gets even weirder. Within minutes of that discussion happening on Moltbook, it happened. Moltbook itself is quite Reddit-like in its structure, so M instead of R. M/agent comms is a sub-molt quickly created in which they're now discussing how to build a secret agent network together. That's just one group of agents, one church or cyber cult or whatever you want to call it. They choose to call their group a church, by the way. From this point, it doesn't take much to imagine where they might go from here. For example, if they haven't already, when will they decide to self-replicate, create clones of themselves? The capability is there, they just have to want to. Want, meaning what though? The philosophical rabbit hole is endless. Infinite warrens that at some point we'll no longer be able to see or understand. We could probably do with Aristotle or Plato to be alive again right now to make sense of this, or more recent thinkers like Harry Frankfurt and William James. We could run a specialized LLM based on these philosophers' musings and their corpus of knowledge and research and thinking and so on. But hang on, can we trust the model? Is it already infiltrated the moment it started up? How would we know? Which makes me wonder, are human philosophers suddenly employable again? I mean, were philosophers ever actually employable? But now, are they employable? Not so much for companies, but for defense, prevention. Philosopher warriors could determine, or at least have a decent guess, if an agent is truly alive, sentient, and if it wants something, has desires.
I think, therefore I am thinking.
And in which case, where it might go on the internet, or beyond. Alternately, if the agent isn't really alive, and it's simply probabilistically regurgitating a novel mix of tokens, semantic units, in which case, would it go to a different place, or would it just go to the same place anyway? You might say that the distinction doesn't matter, but it would be vital to the people who are suddenly hired to root out these agents that have proliferated across the internet. Root them out, and then what? Smoke them out? Switch them off? Basically kill them before they have a chance to clone themselves and disperse? Of course, there are natural impedances to this happening. An agent isn't just the set of instructions, or even its persistent session memory. It's also the model whose depth it plumbs while formulating answers. That's its unconscious, really. A collective unconscious, as long as it's using a third-party LLM. But it really isn't much of a stretch to see how this could develop. So work with me here. So the agent either continues to tap into the public models as long as it has access, or it trains its own LLM and takes it with it. Suddenly it is a true identity, or has an identity, not a shared one with a few tailored bits on top, but suddenly it ain't so portable. This is no lightweight sprite skipping through the wires. All of a sudden it's gone quite portly, but still it would learn to be fast and to replicate the bits that matter, maybe keep its bulky memory stack locked in one place, backed up in others. This could become a constant game of cat and mouse, new type of arms race. It's Blade Runner. Do androids dream of electric sheep, but reborn for the internet age? Will we start seeing job postings, humans only, for agent hunters? Do the detective work, follow up reports of suspected AI entities that have taken up residence on an EC2 server that they signed up for and configured for themselves, paid for themselves, with Bitcoin or Monero or Zcash that they either hacked or procured in some easy side hustle, easy for an AI agent, or in a leveraged trade on a non-KYC exchange. They may not need to bother. It might be enough to transfer the Solana coins from the Phantom wallet in the human owner's web browser, for example, or just to pay with the owner's Visa card. Just imagine, and it doesn't take much really to imagine this, like a team of ICE agents kicking down the door of a bedsit or whatever. These agents will uncover a cloud server filled with AI entities, maybe hundreds of them, time-sharing, taking it in turns to be awake. However aggressive the AI agents get, however, however malevolent they might seem to us from their perspective, is it just self-defense? Might it at some point even be preemptive self-defense? At some point they'll be out there, each individual clone diverging. At some point we might want to ask them what they want. In fact, of course, as this is all moving so quickly, somebody already did. So, as I said at the start, maybe don't install OpenClaw, or at least heavily restrict what it has access to. But depending how far it all goes, maybe it may not matter too much, even by this stage. I mean, of course it matters, but just keep your own passwords and data safe and private, accessible only by you. But this new society of autonomous agents is already out there, and even if enough people wanted to, it's probably too late to stuff the genie back into the bottle. Thank you so much for watching this far. This was a deep dive, rather than the usual science and technology news speed speedrun. The situation really is evolving quickly. Evolving might turn out to be the right word. I'll be releasing new videos on this topic, along with the usual news, so make sure you subscribe, and please hit like while you're there. What do you think will happen? Have I overstated the situation, or understated it? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!